In this video, I'd like to talk about adding up finite arithmetic series. And specifically, we're going to look at adding up the first 50 numbers. And this is a very common example from finite arithmetic series where we might be asked to add up a certain amount of numbers. For instance, maybe the first 100 numbers, the first 5,000 numbers, or maybe the first 20 billion numbers. It doesn't matter, but in all of these cases, the technique or approach we'll use to actually solve these is very similar. And since we're adding up the first 50 numbers, and this is a sum, we might call this S sub 50. So the subscript here is just how many terms we're adding up. And the technique for actually adding these is we're going to rewrite the exact same sum, but in reverse. So we're going to put 50 here, then 49, the next would be 48, and all the way down to where we're adding 2 and 1. And once we rewrite it in reverse, what we'll do next is just add these two together. So we're just adding the series to itself, but by doing it in reverse, we'll notice a pattern. So for instance, the two sums are going to add together since it's the same thing and we're adding it to itself. This would just be twice S sub 50. So adding 1 and 50, we get 51. Adding 2 and 49, we get 51. 3 and 48, we get 51. And so all of these are going to add up to 51. Again, 2 and 49 is 51, and 50 and 1, again, is 51. So the first and the last, the second and the second to last, the third and the third to last, and so on, all add up to 51. And remember that these are the terms in our series, but they're also the term numbers. This is when n is 1, n is 2, n is 3, and so on. And so there are 50 of these. This is the 50th term that we're adding up. So in reality, we're taking this 51 and we're adding it 50 times. And when you add something repeatedly, you're just multiplying. So this will simplify to 50 multiplied by 51 is equal to 2 multiplied by our original sum, this S sub 50. And so let's simplify this. We can divide each side by 2. I'm just going to rewrite it with our sum on the left-hand side. So we have S sub 50, the sum of the first 50 terms, is equal to 50 over 2 multiplied by 51. And before we actually carry out the arithmetic and find the value for this, you might also notice that it's the number of terms multiplied by the first term plus the last term divided by 2. And the reason we write it like this is to notice the pattern. And this is the pattern for all arithmetic series that are finite. When you add them together, it's always going to be the first term plus the last one divided by 2 multiplied by the number of terms. Or in other words, if you average the first term and the last term and then multiply that by the number of terms, you will get what the sum is equal to. So carrying out this arithmetic, 50 divided by 2 is really 25, and we need to add that 51 times. Well, 25 times 50 will be 1,250, and if we add one more 25 to that, we'll get 1,275. And of course, you can just plug this into a calculator. So we can use this general technique to add up the first so many numbers, maybe the first 1,000 numbers or whatever we want, and this same strategy will apply. It will be the first number plus the last number divided by 2 multiplied by the amount of numbers.